All right, so you're prepping for that big meeting at Cultured, and you want to, draw some serious knowledge about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, get ready, because this deep dive is going to take you way beyond water cooler talk and straight into the mind of K-Dot.
Absolutely.
We're going to break down all the symbolism, all the hidden messages, and why this performance, it wasn't just a show. It was a statement.
It really was. And it all started with that stadium, bathed in red light, like a giant start button, like a video game almost. He was signaling right from the beginning that he was playing on a whole other level.
Okay, you've got me intrigued.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about more than just football here. Yeah. What kind of game are we really watching?
Great American game, you could say. Think about it. You've got Uncle Sam.
Right.
Played by the iconic Samuel L. Jackson, right? Narrating the whole thing. He's the personification of America, right? And he keeps telling Kendrick to be quiet, to tone it down, to play the game, right? It's like he represents all those forces that are, trying to control and silence Black voices in America.
Wow. That's a pretty heavy concept for a halftime show.
Yeah.
So how does Kendrick respond to all this pressure?
He squabbles up, as he says in his lyrics. He doesn't back down.
Okay.
And there's this really powerful visual where the dancers dressed in red, white, and blue form the American flag.
Yeah.
And then they divide.
Right.
And it's just a stark representation of, the cultural and political divides in our country. And you've got Kendrick standing right in the middle, navigating this complex landscape.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how this goes way deeper than just catchy tunes and cool dance moves. Mm. It's like he's using this huge stage, the Super Bowl stage, to make a powerful statement about Black culture and the challenges, the real challenges that Black Americans face every day.
Exactly. He literally says, this is bigger than the music. He's using his platform to challenge the way we think about these issues, even on a stage that's usually all about, entertainment and spectacle.
Yeah. It's like he's turning the whole idea of a Super Bowl performance on its head.
Yeah.
He's not just there to entertain. He's there to start a conversation, to make us think.
Precisely. And he does it in a way that's both thought-provoking and incredibly entertaining. Take, for example, the moment when Serena Williams joins him on stage during Not Like Us.
Oh, yeah.
They're both, icons who have challenged expectations and faced backlash for speaking out, for being outspoken.
Right.
And together they make this powerful statement about defiance, about refusing to be silenced.
That's a really fantastic point. And it makes me think about all the other symbolism packed into the performance. I mean, you've got the stage designed like a PlayStation controller. You've got dancers on streetlights, which maybe is a nod to his label, Beatling. It seems like every little detail has a deeper meaning.
Absolutely. It's a masterclass in visual storytelling, blending music, dance, and imagery to create this really layered and complex narrative.
Yeah.
Kendrick's inviting us to look beyond the surface and engage with, the deeper messages that he's conveying.
So how does this game metaphor play out through the rest of the performance? I'm really starting to see how this halftime show is more like a work of art than just a performance.
That's a great observation. It's about recognizing that Kendrick is playing on multiple levels here. He's engaging with history, with societal expectations, with the power of art to inspire change. It's a game that goes way beyond the football field and into the heart of American culture.
Yeah.
And speaking of playing the game, the way he incorporates prison imagery throughout the performance is really striking.
Now that you mention it, yeah, there are these recurring scenes where he's literally trapped within a prison set and then he breaks free.
Mm-hmm.
It's like visually he's representing the systemic barriers that Black Americans face, but also his determination to overcome them.
Exactly. But it's not just about physical confinement. It's also about mental and creative limitations.
Right.
He's pushing back against the expectations placed upon him as a Black artist, refusing to be defined by stereotypes or societal norms. He's breaking free from those imposed limitations, both literally and figuratively.
And the way he uses the stage itself.
Yeah.
It's like he transforms it into these different levels of the game. It's incredibly visually captivating and it adds another layer to the whole metaphor.
Absolutely. Each section of the stage represents a different stage of the Black American experience. From the struggle for liberation to the pursuit of love and family to the ongoing fight against systemic oppression. It's like a visual timeline mapping out the complexities of Black life in America.
This is all incredibly insightful. I have to admit, I watched the performance when it aired, but I never realized just how much depth and symbolism was packed into it.
Yeah.
You've definitely given me a whole new perspective.
Well, that's what's so brilliant about Kendrick's work. It's layered, it's complex, and it rewards close attention and deeper analysis. And it's a reminder that even in something as, seemingly lighthearted as a Super Bowl halftime show, there's room for profound commentary and really powerful messaging.
Okay, before we get to the end of the performance and that powerful game over message, I have to ask about something that's been kind of buzzing around. The whole Drake element.
Ah, yes. The Drake element. Definitely a layer to unpack there for sure. We see that tension between Kendrick and Drake throughout the performance, the Red Stadium, the inclusion of Euphoria in the set list. It's all very deliberate.
Yeah. I've even heard some people say that Serena Williams' appearance was like a subtle dig at Drake, considering their past. What do you make of that?
It's certainly an interesting interpretation, especially given, the rumors about Drake's history with Serena's husband.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember that Kendrick is operating on a deeper level here. Drake isn't the main focus. He's more of a symbol.
You're saying Drake represents something bigger.
Exactly. He represents those forces in the industry, that try to control and limit Black artists, to push them into a box. That pressure to conform, to play it safe, to avoid making waves. That's the game Kendrick is rebelling against.
But it's less about, personal beef and more about a broader commentary on the challenges that Black artists face within the industry.
Precisely. And that's what makes this performance so powerful. Kendrick is using his art to expose those systemic forces that try to silence and exploit Black creativity. It's about reclaiming agency, owning your narrative, and refusing to be defined by others.
Which brings us back to that powerful message. This is bigger than the music. Kendrick's using his platform to elevate the conversation and make us think critically about these issues.
Absolutely. And he's doing it through a carefully crafted performance that's full of symbolism and layered meaning. It's a masterclass in how art can be used to challenge conventions, spark dialogue, and inspire change. And it all culminates in that final game over message, which is where things get really interesting. But I think we'll save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, cliffhanger. I'm already hooked. We'll be back in a moment to continue unraveling the layers of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the deep dive where we're, dissecting Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
Before the break, we were talking about that powerful game over message that flashes on the screen at the very end.
Right.
It felt like more than just an ending, almost like a call to action.
It definitely was. And I think it's crucial to understand that game over in the context of Kendrick's performance, it has multiple layers of meaning.
Okay.
On the surface, it signals, the end of the halftime show, but it also signifies the end of a certain way of thinking, a challenge to the status quo.
So it's like he's telling us to turn off the TV.
Yeah.
To stop being passive consumers of whatever narratives are being fed to us.
Exactly. He's urging us to disengage from that mindless consumption and start actively engaging with the world around us, to think critically.
Right.
To question assumptions, to, squabble up against injustice, as he put it earlier in the performance.
Yeah, I'm seeing how this whole performance is like a wake-up call, urging us to be more conscious, more aware, more willing to challenge, the systems that perpetuate inequality.
And I think that's a message that resonates, deeply with what you all are doing at Culture.
Right.
You're trying to create a space for meaningful dialogue, for challenging conventions, for amplifying voices that are often marginalized.
Yeah, it's about pushing boundaries and sparking conversations just like Kendrick did with his performance.
And it's about recognizing that these conversations aren't always going to be, easy or comfortable.
Right.
Sometimes they're going to require us to squabble up, to challenge our own biases, and to confront uncomfortable truths.
It's interesting how Kendrick uses contrasting elements throughout the performance to kind of drive home that point.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the prison imagery.
Right.
But there are also these moments of pure joy and celebration, like when he performs All Right.
Oh, yeah. And
the dancers who were previously divided come together in this incredible display of unity and resilience.
That's such a powerful moment. It's a reminder that even in the face of struggle and oppression, there's still beauty and strength to be found.
Right.
And it highlights the importance of community, of coming together to support and uplift each other.
And it makes those moments where he's, trapped in the prison set even more impactful.
Right.
You see that contrast between, confinement and liberation, between oppression and resilience, And it really makes you think about the systemic forces at play.
Exactly. Kendrick is using the visual language of the performance to highlight those contrasts and challenge us to think about how they, manifest in our own lives. It's not just about the grand gestures. It's about the subtle ways that those systems operate and how we either, perpetuate them or challenge them.
It's like he's saying, okay, I've shown you the game. Now what are you going to do about it?
And that's the question I think everyone at Cultured should be asking themselves. What are the games being played in your industry? Where are the opportunities to squabble up, to disrupt those systems and create something more equitable and inclusive?
It's a challenge for sure, but also an incredible opportunity to be a part of something that's pushing boundaries and making a real difference.
Absolutely. And I think Kendrick's performance provides a powerful blueprint for how to do that. It's about using your platform, your voice, your creativity to spark conversations, to challenge conventions, and to inspire action.
And it's about being fearless in the face of opposition. Because let's be real, not everyone is going to be comfortable with the message Kendrick is putting out there.
Right.
Some might even see it as too political, too aggressive, too ghetto, as Uncle Sam put it.
Those criticisms are actually quite revealing, aren't they? They reflect the very discomfort that Kendrick is trying to evoke.
Yeah.
He's holding up a mirror to society, forcing us to confront our own biases and preconceived notions about Black art and Black expression.
So it's not about shying away from controversy.
Yeah.
It's about leaning into it, using it to spark dialogue and challenge those who would rather just, maintain the status quo.
Precisely. And that's where the real power of art lies. It has the ability to disrupt, to provoke, to make us question everything we thought we knew. And that's what Kendrick has done with this performance.
Yeah.
He's given us a lot to think about, both individually and collectively.
Speaking of things to think about, I wanted to circle back to a detail you mentioned earlier. The jacket Kendrick wears with the word Gloria emblazoned on it.
Yes, that's a great one.
Yeah.
It's more than just a fashion statement.
Right.
It's a symbolic representation of his creative voice.
You mentioned it's the name he's given to his pen.
Right.
And it's also referenced in a song on his album where he talks about his complicated relationship with his craft.
Exactly. It's like he's acknowledging both the power and the burden of being an artist.
Right.
The responsibility that comes with having a platform and using it to speak truth to power. And it makes you think about the tools we all use to communicate our ideas and shape the world around us.
What are glorias, so to speak? What are the tools, the platforms, the resources we have at our disposal to make our mark on the world?
And are we using them to simply play the game, or are we using them to rewrite the rules? That's a question worth pondering, especially for, those of you at Cultured who are actively working to create change.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play and that even seemingly small actions can have a ripple effect. It's about using our glorias to amplify voices that are often silenced, to challenge systems of oppression, and to create a more equitable and just world.
And it's about recognizing that this work is ongoing. The game is constantly evolving.
Right.
So we need to stay vigilant, stay engaged, and keep asking those critical questions.
Who are the Uncle Sams in our lives trying to dictate the rules? What are the red buttons we're tempted to press, and what are the consequences? And most importantly, how can we use our voices, our influence, our own unique glorias to create positive change?
These are questions that Kendrick's performance invites us to consider, and they're questions that will continue to be relevant long after the final notes of the show have faded.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. What's your game over message? What's the statement you want to make with your life, with your work, with your presence in the world? It's about thinking beyond the immediate, beyond the trends, and tapping into something deeper, something that truly resonates with your values and your vision for the world.
Exactly. It's about finding your own unique way to squabble up against those forces that try to keep us small, that try to limit our potential, that try to silence our voices.
And that's something we can all do regardless of our platform or our position, right? It starts with recognizing our own power, our own agency, and our own ability to make a difference.
And it's about understanding that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey. And sometimes it's going to feel like we're taking, 2 steps back for every 1 step forward.
Right, but that's where resilience comes in.
Right.
It's about staying committed to the vision. even when things get tough,
Yeah.
even when we face setbacks, even when the game seems rigged against us.
And it's about, finding strength in community, in connecting with others who share our values and our commitment to creating a better world.
Kendrick's performance is a powerful reminder that we're not in this alone. There's a whole movement of people out there who are squabbling up, who are pushing boundaries, who are demanding better.
And that movement needs all of us. It needs our voices, our ideas, our energy.
So as you head into that meeting at Cultured, remember the lessons we've unpacked here today.
Remember the power of symbolism, of using art and creativity to convey complex ideas and challenge the status quo.
Remember the importance of authenticity, of speaking your truth even when it's, uncomfortable or unpopular.
Remember the need for critical thinking, for questioning assumptions, and for looking beyond the surface.
Remember the strength that comes from community, from connecting with others who share your vision and your values.
And most importantly, remember to squabble up. Use your voice, your influence, your Gloria to make a difference in the world.
Because the game is never truly over until we decide it is.
And the ending is up to us.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show.
We hope it's given you some food for thought as you navigate the games being played in your own world.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep challenging, and keep creating.
And never forget the power of squabbling up.